Hello, welcome along to the last edition of Adventures in Pop in this year, 2022. You are very welcome, and I've got to say, you're looking well. You don't seem to put on any weight over Christmas, and that's it's all to the good. I'm going to talk today about cover versions, and I'm also going to talk about a gig that I went to very recently at the Shepherd's Bush Empire. So strap in and make good for the last episode of the year. Okay, where to start? Let's talk about going to see, as I did a few weeks ago with some friends of mine, Jamie Cullum at the Shepherd's Bush Empire. Now, you know Jamie Cullum. He's the little guy who does jazz. And he's been doing this, pretty successfully for, about 20 years, possibly a little bit more. Who would have thought it? I do remember buying his album 20-something back in the day, so that was probably about 20 years ago. And I probably didn't, I enjoyed it. I didn't think maybe that he would have such a really very sustained and successful career. So, I take my hat off to him if I was wearing one. It was a really interesting thing. Now, look, okay, a couple of things that I wasn't so keen on. I mean, he basically was doing, at the Shepherd's Bush Empire, a whole night of Christmas songs, and I could probably do without that. I would have liked to have heard a bit more of, Jamie's own back catalogue. But one of the things he's done that is really interesting, he's written a whole bunch over the last few years of original Christmas songs. So, instead of just plundering the classics and the stuff that I guess has become a bit cliched with Christmas, he has at least taken the trouble of writing his own. So that's interesting. Although I still would have preferred a bit more of non-Christmas. But that's me. I am basically the Grinch. So, he wasn't going to really win that one. What was really extraordinary, I think, the music was good. I thought the sound system was good. But what was actually extraordinary was his impact on an audience. Now, look, the audience, they weren't young. Let's be honest. The audience were, 40s, 50s, 60s, probably. Not too many youngsters in that audience. There's a whole area downstairs of people standing. There's a couple of balconies of people sitting. And from where I was sitting, I was quite taken aback just by the sort of pitch of hysteria, really, that he managed to achieve in an hour or so. He played for longer than that, but in terms of cranking up the level of sort of adoration and overexcitement from an audience who I think needed to sit down and take some deep breaths from time to time. It was really, really quite extraordinary, and it came about. I think his audience love him. He's very good at rapport with the audience, but there was a particular moment in the concert which was very interesting where he was about to play something, somebody shouted something that I couldn't, inaudible really, from the middle of the melee downstairs, and he stopped and he said, "What?" kind of thing, you what? And somebody had a request for a song, and it was a Christmas song. It was actually he wanted Jamie to sing, more to the point, In the Deep Midwinter, which I think Jamie is wont to sing, so it wasn't like completely left of centre. But anyway, right now he wanted Jamie to sing. Now, I don't think Jamie was ready to do this, and I should actually say, behind Jamie, this is just a sign of just how big he is in the kind of jazz world. Behind him on the stage, it was like Earth, Wind and Fire. He had about 20 different, performers in the band, mostly playing brass. 3 backing singers who took the centre of the stage, which I thought was very generous of him. So the piano slightly to one side. Anyway, this moment happens. This guy wants In the Bleak Midwinter. He wants it right now. So Jamie, realising that he can't quite remember what chord it's in and what key he's played it in, he gets off the stage with a microphone. The guy gets to the front, and they kind of sing it to each other quietly in a little voice. I think the member of the audience probably didn't know many of the words beyond the first few lines. Jamie seemed to know all of it. And so there was this very intimate, quiet moment of some guy over here talking to a guy just here, literally that far away, in the middle of this very quiet Shepherds of Champar, where everyone just watched and thought, this is really, really interesting. And so they sang it, and Jamie got back on stage. But it was like a really emotional, an odd emotional moment. And there was an eruption of cheering and shouting when he got back on the stage. And from that moment to the end of the concert, I've got to say, this audience, as I said before, was somewhat hysterical. So when he said to the audience, "I want you to get up and dance," which, normally I roll my eyes and think, "Oh, really? You'll be lucky." No, it was compulsory. Every single person was up and dancing. I was a little bit worried about the safety of the balcony in the Shepherd's Bush Empire, but you've got to hand it to him. He was really, he was delivering a show. So kind of intriguing and enjoyable too. So thank you to my friends for getting me round there. It's just round the corner from my place, but interesting. So there we go. That's Jamie Cullum at Christmas. Check him out. The other thing I just wanted to touch on today, because I don't think I've really mentioned it, is cover versions. Over the years that I've been doing this, I was trying to work this out the other day. I think I've probably only attempted really 5 or 6 cover versions. I think certainly there were a couple I did with CJ from Goldhawk Foxes, where in the early days as we were kind of getting to know each other, it was kind of safe to try somebody else's song rather than to actually try to write our own. And then we got obviously the courage to have a go at our own compositions. And that's been where we've been ever since. And I guess for somebody like myself, who I try to consider as being a songwriter, I guess cover versions is not really the thing that I'm very interested in doing. I'm not interested particularly in performing them. So why do I do them? So why are there any, you might well ask? But I think they have a real purpose for the singer-songwriter, which is every now and again there's going to be a period, and it may be just a week or a month or whatever it's going to be. It may be a period where you are having a bit of a brick wall, or having a bit of a kind of fallow moment where you're taking a break from the actual process of writing the song. And yet, of course, there are hundreds of songs, thousands of songs that and I know that I really love. So I take the opportunity, if I'm having a period of time when I'm feeling a bit less creative, then one of the things I do is to just try out a cover version, try out a song that I know, that I love. I wouldn't bother doing one that I don't love, because, why spend the time with something you're not that keen on? But find a song that I really love. And here's the thing, I think find a song that nobody would guess that you would cover. So, go for something a bit outlandish, go for something that just is really unpredictable, because I think it's more fun, and I think it's quite good to surprise people, with your crazy and eclectic taste. Okay, so let me tell you, I'm going to play you a bit of a couple of them that I have done not so long ago, but I have done a cover. Okay, I started off with a cover with a few added words of a song by Randy Newman, Jolly Coppers on Parade, a very old song of his from the 70s, but a great song. And I added some words, and then I got a little bit nervous about it and thought, well, I'm absolutely not releasing that. I popped it on a CD of my very first single back in 2017, but it's not been on YouTube, and I think it's going to stay not on YouTube. I did a very bad cover version of Sundown by Gordon Lightfoot. That's from about 1974, I think. As I say, a couple of cover versions with CJ from Goldhawk Foxes. Oh, I did. This one's very weird. I'm not going to play this to you. I did a cover version of Evergreen by Barbra Streisand. Yeah, okay. Maybe if I'm very drunk one day, I'll play you that. But then more recently, I have done a cover version of Streets of Philadelphia by Bruce Springsteen, which was the soundtrack song to the film Philadelphia, I think 1994, something like that. And Anna did a cover version probably a year or so ago of a great track, How Does It Feel by Slade from kind of mid-70s. So those two I'll play you bits of. Okay, so let me just say a little bit. How Does It Feel by Slade is a great song. It's quite a long song and it's quite complicated actually, and I wanted to try, one of the things I try to do with the cover version is, at least with the backing, is to be fairly close to the sound of the original recording. So basically it means listening to, in this case, the Slade version over and over again, trying to work out what the instruments are when they come in, what they're playing, what all the stuff, what key, what's the harmony, etc. So you've got to have good listening ears, and be able to transfer what you're hearing into something that makes a bit of sense. It doesn't matter if it's not 100%. Of course, it doesn't matter. You could make it. In fact, you could just do it on a banjo if you want to. It's not. But I'm choosing to try and be quite close to the original. But then, obviously, with my voice, I don't sound like Noddy Holder, and this is one of my problems with doing cover versions. I think it's really hard for anybody who does a cover version to get away from kind of mimicking the singing of the original. I mean, it's really difficult. So my phrasing for How Does It Feel is going to be Noddy Holder's phrasing, but I don't have his voice. He's got a magnificent, kind of rock voice, and at its very peak in the mid-70s. So look, it's a great song. I would also say though, it is a long song. As I said, for me it loses its way about 2/3 of the way through. It goes along, it's building, it's got these little sections, it's great, and then I just think probably it's a couple of minutes too long. So look, Noddy, sorry. So I try to make mine a little bit shorter, and that's my only criticism. I think it's a great song. Streets of Philadelphia by Bruce Springsteen, I've got to say, was more straightforward. It's a more simple song, but there are a couple of things that can catch you out, and that is his phrasing. The way he sings it is really interesting because it's all offbeat. He's not singing to the beat, he's singing kind of around the beat. He comes in a bit too early, and I wanted to try and get some of that. I wanted to try and understand kind of what he's doing. So I guess this is the point. Apart from having a bit of fun and filling in some downtime when maybe the songwriting itself is not just coming to you, I think there's a lot that we can learn from these good songs, great songs, about some techniques, about the way they sing it, about the instruments they put together, about some of the chord structures, about how the emotion is, translated, how it's communicated to people, and all of that I think is really valuable. So I will leave you with a bit of, literally, I'm not going to give you too much. I think that would be unfair of me, wouldn't it? But a bit of, we'll start with Slade, How Does It Feel, and we'll morph into the Bruce Springsteen Philadelphia. Now look, I know that Streets of Philadelphia by Bruce it's not very cheery. It was a song for the film Philadelphia, which was one of the first mainstream films to ever deal with HIV and AIDS. So it's not exactly cheery. So I'm just going to have to say, have a good New Year and New Year's Eve wherever you are, and we'll be fresh and ready to go again in 2023. And just because I'm ending on a real down note, well, too bad, huh? It's been great. I've enjoyed every moment, and we'll do it all again next year. Until then, I will leave you with these two rather odd cover versions, and I would say cover versions, there's lots we can learn from the greats. See you next time. Bye-bye. How does it feel when you are round, round, round? How does it feel watching from upside down? 'Cause many years from now there will be new sensations and new temptations. How does it feel? How does it feel right at the start? And how does it feel when you are thrown apart? 'Cause many years from now there will be new elations and new frustrations. And how does it feel? Know what it's like to be searching in your own time. All your attempting, experimenting, all on the climb. Do you know what it's like to be searching? Suddenly find all your illusions, all your confusion, all left behind. How does it feel turning away? And how does it feel facing another day? I walked the avenue till my legs felt like stone. I heard the voices of friends vanished and gone. At night I could hear the blood in my veins, just as black and whispering as the rain on the streets of Philadelphia. Angel gonna greet me. It's just you and I, my friend. And my clothes don't fit me no more. 1,000 miles just to slip the skin. The night has fallen and I'm lying awake. I can feel myself fading away. So receive me, brother, with your faithless kiss. Or will we leave each other alone like this on the streets of Philadelphia?